Hello everyone, this is FantasyEsque and welcome to the Vampire Amazon Generation 3 predictions. Before anyone gets confused about anything, let me clarify that we have just wrapped up Generation 4 and this video is going to be attached to that playlist. However, I have labeled this particular video as Generation 3 because we did these particular readings back in Generation 3 and you guys made your predictions in Generation 3, which came true in Generation 4, so we will be now reflecting on how those readings came true, what happened, and which comments from you lovelies inspired me to make the stories the way I did. So without further ado, let's dive right in. We'll start off with Rowan Cavadore, our broodmother, or, the first broodmother we had before she died, and then we had another one. But Rowan's signs were ghost, net, and no sun. How did her story turn out? Well, Rowan helped Rose by traveling to a magic realm devoid of suns, where she was trapped. She stayed there until an alchemist from the military saved her and brought her back to the castle. However, this had dire consequences for Rose, who was punished to blindness and death. She died, becoming a ghost who every once in a while haunted the castle grounds. For her story, I was inspired by Pandorum, who commented, "Ghost came up right away, so I believe Rowan's life may have a greater connection to the afterlife, and /or that her life will have an overwhelming arch of death and morbid topics, which she will have to grow to accept." And Diamond Lover, who said, "I think ghost means she will be haunted by the ladies of the past." The next sim that we have is Soul Ranarain, who was our lovely champion before she died and then was replaced by Izadora. But her signs were shame, military, and soul. How did her story turn out? Well, Soul attempted to transform the army into a noble knightly order. However, she was shamed for her efforts. In later years, she led a military revolt against Queen Wisteria. That failed and resulted in her premature death. With this, the ancient bloodline of Ranarain came to an end. For her story, I was inspired by Aubrey Burden, who commented, "I think that the military image is her trying to sort of retcon the currently violent and pretty scary champion role into a kind of knightly and just version of it, since Soul is so gentle in comparison to her bloodthirsty mother. As for the shame image, maybe the ladies see her idea to change the role as idiotic and overall invalid, sending her into overwhelming embarrassment. And lastly, I think the image of herself is Soul metaphorically looking back onto herself and realizing that shame can't stop her from pursuing something she's so passionate about." The next sim we have is Wisteria Salizar, our lovely, I wouldn't say tyrannical, but definitely evil queen. So the signs she got were shame, composition, and travel. How did her story turn out? Wisteria embraced the shames of the past, but also reinforced certain shames in her reign. A quest for ideological growth and cultural enrichment caused Wisteria to compose her own songs and histories, as well as bring back vampiric traditions of the past. These compositions traveled the realm and immortalized Wisteria's name. For her story, I was inspired by Kundrof's Fire, who said the shame could be connected to Soul's shame, composed because she was inspired by the late alchemist to document the history with writing music of her own. Ronald, who said reconstructing the queendom, and Akasha Koran, who said immortalized in song. The next sim we have is Wisteria's twin sister, who is also our priestess, Lady Zelda Salizar. The signs she got were llama, entertainment, and sun. How did her story turn out? Zelda had a falling out with the queen because of her mean nature and made a fool of herself. Her pettiness caused her to seek entertainment in dangerous areas, which brought about death to those involved. A direct consequence of this was the mass execution of Wisteria's ambassadors, who acted on rumors Zelda supplied them. For her story, I was inspired by Harper Walker, who said Zelda will make a fool out of herself, and Diamond Lover, who said, "We'll have to entertain and swindle many to rise up and become the Amazon lady with the sun's blessing." Next, we have Wisteria and Zelda's youngest sister, Izadora Salizar, who for the most part was a castle keeper, and then she got soul killed and moved in as the new champion. Her signs were Ghost, Composition, and Smile. How did her story turn out? As castle keeper of the ancient Salizar castle, Izadora had a close bond with the ghosts of her ancestors. Because of this, she took joy in what she considered as supreme vampiric behavior, such as death, to the point where she composed false stories which killed Rowan and Sol. Her twisted side made her pleased at chaos and havoc within the coven, as she viewed this as a challenge for the vampires to overcome. For her story, I was inspired by Pandorum, who said, "I believe her composition sign will have some tie to her sisters, and Ghost and Smile/Teeth/Happiness tying to a joy in the dead." Queen Momo Morgana, who said, "Chaos and trouble for the other vampires in the coven, that would put a smile on Isadora's face and make her happy." And Diamond Lover, who said, "Izadora will be heavily connected to the ghosts of the past." And finally, we have Oriana Nox, our scholar. Her signs were Cowplant, Sun, and Beach. How did her story turn out? When Zelda's life was threatened with death, Oriana helped her recover the Queen's favor, which saved her life. Oriana was then gifted a cowplant by the priestess as thanks for her good deed. This also strengthened her relationship with Wisteria, and she suggested they reclaim the beaches of Brindleton Bay where Narcissa once ruled. For her story, I was inspired by Pandorum, who commented, "For Cowplant and Sun, I think of tradition again, much like the llama sign from previous readings. I think the sun ties her future to the other girls who received this sign." That's pretty much it for the Generation 3 predictions. I hope you guys enjoyed and that helped. I tried to put all the information on the screen, so if you guys preferred, you could read it. I also have like the particular signs next to everything that I read in brackets to show like how each sign played out in the story. Hopefully that clarifies things for you guys. You might have even noticed a bunch of these things yourself when watching the series. This is just to summarize everything for people. It's kind of like a summary of the story, I guess, like the plots that happened with the characters themselves. But also, I've been doing this, I think, for the past few generations, and it's always super fun for everyone to be able to see like their own comments popping up and how, you know, whatever they predicted inspired the story for the generations going forward. And obviously the same thing's going to happen for all of the predictions that you guys helped me make in Generation 4. That's going to play out in our next season when we have the Generation 5 ladies ready to take charge. But anyways, this is the final video that will be coming out for our Generation 4 of the Vampire Amazon series. It'll be added to the playlist, and I hope you guys have a good time in the off season while I am working behind the scenes to get our Generation 5 castle and series prepped. I have mentioned this in our last episode of gameplay, but if you guys want to stay up to date on what's happening with our Generation 5 castle, then feel free to support me on Patreon. Once I get ready to furnish that castle, I will be having videos out on that platform. So there we go, guys. With that said and done, I'm gonna leave off as usual. Leave me with your thoughts, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.